Hello everyone and welcome back to FPL Fast Track. My name is Jamal and today we are going to analyze the results for Game Week 9 and we're going to start strategizing and preparing for Game Week 10. Let's get to it. So the first game in Game Week number 10 is Brighton versus Leeds. Now, the first thing we can see is Brighton have won 50% of their home games. Leeds have won 25% of their away games. The points are very similar. You can see there's only 1 point between them two. The ranking is also very similar. But if we look at the goals scored in the past 3 games, Brighton have slightly more goals than Leeds. They've got 5. Leeds have only scored roughly 1 goal per game in the past 3 games, and they've also conceded similar goals as well. Brighton conceded 1 more goal, so there's not much information at first view. If we analyze the goals, so home Brighton, and just see by sorted by points. Okay, so Brighton have played 4 games at home so far, and they've conceded 5 goals. So they've been conceding just over a goal in average. At the same time, they've scored 7 goals, so they've been scoring quite a lot of goals every single game at home. So we can expect Brighton to score a goal. They are playing against Leeds. If you look at the teams that Brighton have played against already, they've actually played against tough teams. So they played against Man City, Tottenham, Newcastle, and they haven't really lost any matches at all. So that is a favourable stat, a interesting stat. Brighton have not lost at home, and they have won half the games, right? They've been scoring goals as well, which is also a good thing. Now, if we look at Leeds away, we can see Leeds have played 4 games away. They've lost 3 games. They've only won a game against Wolves playing away. They've conceded 9 goals and they've only scored 3 goals. So that's very interesting. So Brighton is very likely to score a goal purely because Leeds have been conceding an average of 2 to 3 goals per game, and they have been scoring less than a goal per game. In fact, if you look at the details, you can see all 3 goals came from Wolves, but they have not been able to score against any other team when they played away. So straight away, so we can clearly say that Brighton is likely to win this game. Brighton is definitely going to score. Leeds are going to find it difficult to score, and they're definitely going to concede. That's what the stats are saying. All right. If we look in detail, Brighton, how have Brighton performed so far? Let's look at the points. Brighton, and let's select Leeds as well. I know Leeds had a really good game actually. So if we look at the game week number 9, Leeds actually had 54 points in total, and Brighton actually had 32 points in total. So coming off game week number 9, Leeds had a better game week. We can see Aronson got 11 points. He scored a goal. Rodent got 13 points. He scored a goal too and got defensive contribution and 3 points. So he had a really good week. They played at West Ham. So how are they going to perform against How are they going to perform against Brighton? We'll have to see, but the stats are saying they are going to struggle to perform against Brighton. Brighton, however, this week they had a pretty tough week. They who's had Welbeck got 6 points. They played against Manchester United. They lost 4-2, I think. So Minte had an assist. So Minte and Welbeck are the only two players who scored some point. But in terms of Welbeck's performance so far, we can see that he's got a total of 5 attacking returns here, all of which are goals, 2 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal. And the Minte comes second with 4 attacking returns, most 3 assists and 1 goal. So they're the best 2 players at the moment. Can they... So to finalize my summary for Brighton versus Leeds, Brighton are definitely going to score. Leeds are going to struggle to score. It's just a matter of question, is it worth getting a Brighton defense, a goalkeeper, and are they likely to have a clean sheet? That's questionable. But the fact that Leeds had a good week, they've got a little bit of the momentum, so you just don't know. I don't have any Brighton defenders or goalkeepers, so I wouldn't personally advise to buy them. Moving on to the next game, and that is Burnley versus Arsenal. This is a very interesting game. Okay. The first thing we can see is that Burnley have won 50% of their games playing home. Arsenal have won 75% of their games playing away. They've got a massive difference in the total points, and there's a 15 league ranking difference between the two. I think generally based on that fact, a lot of people are going to invest in Arsenal. I think a lot of people already have Arsenal players. So let's see let's see how Burnley will perform on this day. So they have a 50% win rate at home, so it's not going to be easy. That's something that we can say. In terms of goals conceded, Arsenal haven't conceded any goals in the past 3 game weeks, which is excellent. Burnley have conceded 4 goals in the past 3 game weeks, but they've scored more goals than Arsenal. Actually, if you can see, they've scored 2 more goals than Arsenal. Let's have a look at the details. Let's have a look at the record in more detail. So I'm going to click on home. Burnley. Okay, so Burnley won 2 games, and that came from Leeds and Sunderland. They've lost against Liverpool in GameWeek 4, and they drew against Nottingham Forest. They're playing Arsenal now, which is the same fixture difficulty as Liverpool, so they are highly likely to lose, let's just say. But at the same time, this is very interesting. Burnley have only conceded 2 goals in their home matches, you can see here, and that's from 4 games. That is actually very, very impressive. In fact, if we were to categorize them highest to lowest, we can see Burnley is joint second with Sunderland and Bournemouth for conceding only 2 goals in their home matches. Arsenal is the top. Burnley, Sunderland and Bournemouth come second. So that is a very impressive record, to be honest. And they've scored at least they've scored 5 goals, so that average is more than a goal per game, which is also very, 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 very good. If you look at Arsenal, on the other hand, whoops, Arsenal, Arsenal's away record is very good. They've played 4 times. They've played with tough teams. They've only lost against Liverpool in game week 3. But other than that, they've won every single game. And you can see they've been winning by only 1 goal here and there. But they have got this momentum going. They are playing against Burnley, which is on paper the lowest fixture difficulty. They've scored only 4 goals at the Emirates, and they've conceded only 2. So, based on these facts, I think that it's not going to be a high scoring game. I think Burnley is going to play really well at home. They're going to be solid in defense. I think Arsenal's going to edge it. They're going to win it by a goal, possibly 2, but I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I'd be skeptical to captain someone from Arsenal, whether it's Saka or anyone else. That is something I'm not fully sure about. I wouldn't go for captaining anyone. But I think if you look at the FPL community, most of them, people are going to think about captaining or triple captaining Arsenal players. I wouldn't advise on that. If we look at the individual players, Arsenal, let's see how they performed this week. Game week number 9. Gabriel got 9 points, which is excellent. He's owned by 35%, so he's highly owned. Eze did really well. He's got 11 points. He scored a goal. He played 87 minutes. Now that's interesting to see, because I always knew Eze is a good player, but he hasn't been getting the minutes. But it's nice to see that he's getting good minutes now. Rice has got 7 points. He made an assist, and Eze scored the goal. And all 3 bonus points go to Gabriel, which is excellent. And if we look at Burnley, how has Burnley performed this week? Burnley didn't do too bad. If you look at Fleming, got 13 points. He scored 2 goals, 3 bonus points. He done really well. Hartman, on the other hand, got 7 points. 2 assists, excellent. And Anthony, who has been the best player, blanked. So let's have a look at the attacking returns for Burnley. Just wanted to have a quick look, because so in the past 6 game weeks, everyone's been average. So all the top players have been averaging 2 attacking returns. Anthony hasn't been doing much for the past 3 game weeks, which is quite disappointing. Whereas, let's see, Arsenal, if we just look at the past 6 game weeks, we can see Eze is actually the top performer with 4 attacking returns. And you can see his minutes on the right hand side. It's always been low. He had 90 minutes on game week 6, then his minutes dropped down again. So although he had 87 minutes this game week, it's questionable if he's going to get the same playing time. But he's clearly the best player at the moment, if we were to just look at the past 6 game weeks. Defcon, let's see, Arsenal, anyone getting you can see Gabriel got 6 Defcon points and over the past 6 games, so he's the strongest defender at the moment. Okay, so to finalize this game, Burnley are unlikely to win. Arsenal are likely to win, but it's not going to be a very easy game for Arsenal, Burnley's got a very good record at home. So that's why I think it's going to be a low scoring game. And I think Arsenal are going to edge it purely because of the momentum they have. Next game is Crystal Palace versus Brentford. Okay, we can see both teams have equal points. They're in similar league ranking. They've scored similar number of goals. And Crystal Palace have conceded much more goals than Brentford. That's very interesting. Let's have a look at the details in more. Let's have a look at the team details in more detail. Okay, so it's Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace home record is right at the bottom. That's quite surprising, actually. So they've played 4 games. They've won one game, and that came with Liverpool. But all other games they actually drew. And the most recent home fixture they had was against Bournemouth, and it was 3-3. They've conceded 6 goals at home, and they've conceded 5 goals at home, and they've scored 6. So if we were to use this as an example, we can assume that they're going to concede because they've been conceding more than 1 goal average per game. They're very likely to concede. So we need to start rethinking about the Crystal Palace defenders because they've got very good points early on the season, but they are starting to become very leaky at the back. So it's worth thinking twice about whether you want the Crystal Palace defenders or not. But on the other hand, Brentford away record, they've only made 3 points playing away, and it came from the last game week number 8, where they beat West Ham at the London Stadium in Stratford. And they lost every other game. You can see they've lost with very poor teams. Fulham, Sunderland's playing good. Nottingham Forest have been very poor as well. So they've lost with a lot of average or poor teams, and they've won recently. They've conceded 8 goals, and they've scored 5 goals. So this game looks like a game where both teams will score. Crystal Palace are more likely to score. Brentford are also likely to score, but it seems like it might be a draw, or Crystal Palace might edge the win. If we were to look at the data together, so let's click on Crystal Palace and Brentford, and let's analyze the past 6 game weeks, and you can see Mateta has 31 points. That's because of a hat trick he had. He's got a lot of people have been transferring him in. Crystal Palace are playing Brentford, then Brighton, Wolves, Man United, Burnley. So the upcoming opponents are teams that they concede a lot. So Mateta is actually a good option. But then Mark Guehi, he's got 31 points as well. He's been getting 4 points. He's been getting defensive contribution points recently, often actually. So that's why it's coming to 4 points in total. the same time, he's been very interesting actually. Sade, he's been playing really, really well. He is someone to watch. Look at he's only selected by 0.6% of people, and he's been getting good returns. He scored a goal last game week against Liverpool, and then he gave an assist the week after, and he's getting good minutes now, because last season he wasn't getting enough minutes, but I did have him last season for a brief period. So he is someone I'm going to keep an eye out. You can see there's only 5,000 people who've transferred him in, so he is one to watch actually. Thiago as well, he's been excellent. Look at that, 106,000 transfer in. He scored a goal game week 9 and 8. He scored a brace on game week 6. So he is also becoming a player that, is worth investing in. This is getting very, very interesting. Who else? Munoz, 29 points. That's very impressive as well. He had good points in game week 8 and 9. Okay, so my summary for this game is both teams are going to score. Likely a draw, possibly a win for Crystal Palace. Both teams are leaking at the back. In terms of, let me see one last thing actually. Most recent form for Crystal Palace: 30, 45, 41. Last 3 games. Let's look at last 3 games. Crystal Palace and Brentford, last 3 games. Look at that. This is actually quite interesting. So Brentford did very well in game week 8. They had 72 points, one of the highest in game week 8, and then they got 58. So if we were to just look at the past 3 game weeks, Brentford is doing quite well actually. You'll see more Brentford players here than Crystal Palace players. So that's quite interesting. Right, if Brentford played West Ham in game week 8. That's when they got a lot of points, and so that's very, very interesting. I'm gonna have to think about it over the next few days. Okay, so that's my summary for this game. Next game I want to talk about is Fulham versus Wolves. Fulham have won 50% of their games at home. Wolves hasn't won any game playing away. Points are low, under 10, but Fulham have more points than Wolves. There's 3 league ranking differences between them. The number of goals scored, Wolves have actually scored 1 more goal compared to Fulham in the last 3 games, and both the teams have equally been conceding the same amount of goals. Fulham's home record is much better than their away record. I can see they have played 4 games. They've won 2 games. They drew another game, and they lost recently against Arsenal, the best performing team, and they only lost by 1 goal. So they've conceded only 3 goals at home, and they scored 5 goals. So if we look at Wolves immediately, Wolves' away record, they've lost 3 games, drew a game, they conceded 5 goals, and they've only managed to score 1 goal. So that based on these stats, we can assume Fulham are likely to win. Fulham are highly likely to win this game. Wolves are struggling to score goals. Wolves have only scored one goal in their past 4 away matches. So Fulham are most likely to win. They are averaging more than a goal per game playing at home. If we look at their most recent form, Fulham and Wolves. Where's Fulham? Fulham, you can see they had a good game week 4 and 5, but then they started to struggle. So they're getting only like mid 30s. So these points here are the total points for the entire team, FPL points for the entire team. So they haven't been amazing in the past 3 game weeks. We can see Sessegnan has got 15 points in the past 3 game weeks. He's been the best performing player. Iwobi, who is owned by 1.5, he's had 7 points in the past 3 game weeks. Nothing amazing to see. If we look at Wolves, however, Wolves actually haven't done too bad. They've had a better game week than Fulham, actually by 2 points only. Game week 8 was poor, but game week 7 they had a better game week, also by a few points. So their best player so far is Munetsi, Marshall Munetsi. He's scored a goal. He's got good attacking returns. He's owned by 0.1 only. Not bad at all. This is quite impressive. Okay. If we have a look at all the teams past 3 game weeks, Mbeumo, Bruno Guimaraes. This is very interesting to see. Okay, I'll get back to this later. But so to finalize and summarize this game, Fulham are highly likely to win. They have been scoring an average more than 1 goal per home game. Wolves have been conceding a lot. They haven't won a game away yet. And therefore, Fulham are likely to win. Next game is Nottingham Forest and Manchester United. Okay. So, the first thing we can see is Man United have 11 more points than Nottingham Forest. There's a difference of 12 league rankings between them two. Man United have scored 8 goals in the past 3 game weeks. Nottingham Forest have still scored still 0 goals for the past 3 game weeks. But they've conceded 7 and Man United conceded 3. So they have been very, very good, Man United. If we look at their individual records, so Nottingham Forest, where are you? Nottingham Forest is here. Nottingham Forest's home record, they've conceded 8, they've only scored 3, and that 3 came from the first game. If I deselect everything, the total, you can see Nottingham Forest are still struggling to score. In the latest game week, they conceded 2 goals against Bournemouth. Bournemouth had a clean sheet. So Nottingham Forest are still struggling to score. They've only scored 2 in the past 9 game weeks. They've only scored 2 goals, which is absolutely poor. At the same time, they are playing against Man United. Man United's away record, we can see they've lost twice, they've won once, and they drew once. And they've won against Liverpool 2-1. They've conceded 8 in total and they've scored only 4 goals playing away. But one thing you will notice, if I deselect them, you can see Man United have won 3 games in a row. So they have the momentum and they've scored, averaging nearly 3 goals per game. So Man United is a team that you have to invest in. Let's have a look at individual players. So if we look at Man United here, Man United, and I want to look at those 3 games. Look at that. They've got greens, amber, green. And if I just select the past 3 game weeks, we can clearly see Mbeumo is the top performing player. You can see he's been transferred in 323,000 times. His price has gone up, and his price is likely to go up again very soon. He's been selected by 18% of the people of FPL audience. That's more than Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes, on the other hand, hasn't been as great as Mbeumo. You can see Casemiro is actually done better, and that's because of his goal and assist last game week, and he got 2 bonus points as well. So Man United are on the up. If we look at Nottingham Forest, let's see how Nottingham Forest, you can see, look at that, 19 points in total for game week 19. Everyone's been playing very, very poor. They haven't been performing at all. So I'm not even going to look at this team right now. But to finalize, so my summary for this game is Man United is going to win, worth investing in Man United top players, and Nottingham Forest are still struggling to score goals, so invest in Manchester United defenders for this upcoming game week 10. I would invest in their defenders. This looks like a next game, Spurs versus Chelsea. This looks very interesting. Spurs have won only 25% of their games playing at home. Chelsea's won 50% of the games playing away. Points are not too far apart. On 3 points difference between the two teams. Spurs are higher, 6 rankings higher than Chelsea though. In terms of goal scoring, they've both scored 6 goals in the past 3 game weeks, and they've both conceded only 3 goals in the past 3 game weeks. So Chelsea and Spurs are bang even if we were to just look at the past 3 game weeks. Let's have a look at overall performance. Spurs are 3rd ranked team at the moment, and they're home. They are playing home, so Spurs have lost twice. Once they've only won once. They've conceded 4 goals over 4 home games, so that's an average of a goal per game. We can see that they've scored 5 goals at home, 3 of which came from GameWeek 1 playing against Burnley. They haven't been performing well recently at home. They lost against Aston Villa, only scored 1 and they lost. They drew against Wolves at home. So that just shows they are a team who struggles at home. If they could draw against Wolves and then lost 2 other games, that just shows they are likely to struggle. So they are playing against Chelsea. Let's see Chelsea's away record. Chelsea's away record, they have won 2 games, lost a game. They most recently won away against Nottingham Forest 3-0. They lost 2-1 against Man United, drew against Brentford, won 5-1 against West Ham. They've conceded 5 goals at playing away, but they scored double digits playing away, so that's very impressive. So Chelsea are highly likely to score goals. But in terms of who's going to win, the data is suggesting Chelsea's going to win. It could be a draw because the last 3 games have been even and equal for both teams. So it could be a draw. But if we look at the overall data, Chelsea is showing to have better results playing away compared to Spurs playing at home. So let's have a look at Chelsea and Spurs together for the past 3 game weeks. Now, Spurs have 91 points in total for this game week, and we can see that Van de Ven smashed it with 23 points. Whoever's got Van de Ven, they are lucky. 23 points. That's going to boost them a couple of rankings up. So he had a massive game week. 23 points is massive. 2 goals, clean sheet, bonus points, defensive contribution. That is amazing. So he's done really well. Bentacore as well, he's been quite interesting. If we look at the past 3 game weeks, so Van de Ven hasn't been playing too well recently other than this game week. Bentacore has been playing quite well. I like he's had two attacking returns. Let's look at total attacking returns for Spurs only. So there was 6. Kudus has 4 attacking returns. All of that came from game week 5 and 7. Van de Ven has 3 attacking returns. There was a big gap where he wasn't getting any points at all. So 14 points in game week 4. So he is a player that can score goals a lot. Game week 4. Okay. If we have a look at Chelsea and Spurs, so this is the total attacking returns for the past 6 game weeks. And James have got 4 attacking returns. His attacking returns is a little bit more spread out. but they have been conceding. Chelsea have been conceding 18 points last week. Okay, I will look into this further along the next couple of weeks, but my summary for this GameWeek 10, Tottenham versus Chelsea, there's going to be a lot of goals by the looks of it. Both teams are scoring goals and conceding goals, and they've been doing very well. So that's my summary for this game. Next game. Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa have been playing really well recently. Liverpool haven't been great, but Liverpool's home record is still very good, 75% win record. Aston Villa away record is 25%. They've got even points. I did not even expect that. 15 points, both teams. And Aston Villa have scored one more goal over the past 3 game weeks. Liverpool have conceded the lion's share of the goals. You can see Aston Villa's defensive record is much better than Liverpool's record. Let's have a look. So let's press home, Liverpool. So Liverpool have won 3 games. They've lost the last game at home against Man United. They've scored 8 goals in total. They've conceded 5. So their home record isn't too bad. But currently their form is very low at the moment. They haven't been performing well at all. If we look at Aston Villa's away record, Aston Villa's away record is actually very impressive. So they played 4 games. They've won only once, but they've conceded only 3 goals. So they are conceding less than a goal per game, playing away, and they're scoring less than a goal per game as well. So they haven't really been playing awesome, but at the same time they've been doing really well. If the recent form, so you can see they've got 4 wins in a row. So they are a team on the rise. They've won against Man City, Tottenham, Burnley, and Fulham as well. So they are definitely a team not to be reckoned with. Let's have a look at the players in more detail. So this game week, we can see Aston Villa had 67 points in total. Matty Cash got 15 points. He scored 1 goal, the only goal they won against Man City. That is an impressive stat. Konsa has 8 points and Martinez have 8 points as well. And the defenders Power have 8 points. Everyone else have low points. So that's quite impressive. Man City, however, this game week didn't do well. I did predict that Haaland is unlikely to score a brace, and I did predict that it's going to be difficult for Man City to win. You could see my predictions in my previous video, so my analysis was correct. So if I was to look at Aston Villa's past 3 games only and Liverpool's past 3 games, you can see a massive difference. You can see that Aston Villa's players are at the top. They are the main ones. So these players are in order of highest to lowest points, and these points are only for the 3 weeks that I've selected. You can see that Cash and Marlon have the most points. Cash has a total of 19 points in the past 3 game weeks. He's been blanking game week 8 and 7. Marlon, however, he had a good game week 7, but he's been blanking game week 8 and 9. Watkins been blanking every single week. So there's no clear favourites, to be honest. Gakpo's been consistent. 7.7 points, but blanked last game week. Rogers have been doing quite well here. Not too 15 points. Salah hasn't been great. So Aston Villa playing away. It's going to be a tough game. I don't think there's going to be many goals actually, and the data is suggesting that Liverpool are going to concede. Liverpool are likely to concede again. Aston Villa might score a goal. Liverpool might score some goals as well. So I'll have to get back to this, but overall, it just one thing the data suggests is Liverpool are just likely to concede. That's what the data suggests. But I'll have a think about this and look into this more detail over the next few days, and I'll watch out for my next video, my final thoughts. Next game I want to mention is West Ham versus Newcastle United. This is interesting. So West Ham and Newcastle, they haven't won a game. West Ham haven't won a game at home. Newcastle haven't won a game away. Newcastle have much more points compared to West Ham. Newcastle have scored 5 goals in the past 3 games. West Ham are struggling. West Ham have been conceding a lot more goals as well, and Newcastle have a much higher threat compared to West Ham. If we look at West Ham's home record, they have the most. This is the most interesting fact that we need to know, and that is that West Ham have lost every single game at home. They have conceded 12 goals at home. They've only scored 2 goals at home. So that is alarm bells that West Ham are likely to lose, highly likely. At the same time, Newcastle's away form, we can see they have lost once and they drew all the other games, but they've only conceded twice out of the 4 away games, and they've only scored once out in the away game. So immediately, so just on this insights alone, we can assume that West Ham are not going to score. They're going to struggle to score, let's just put it like that. Newcastle are going to have a clean sheet, highly likely to have a clean sheet. But at the same time, they will struggle to score as well. Maybe not that. I retract that comment. They are likely to score as well, purely on the basis that West Ham have conceded a lot of goals at home. So this game seems like an easy win for Newcastle because of West Ham's recent performance. I'm not going to look at players right now, but I would invest in Newcastle defense for this game. So have Pope in your goal, Burn, have these defenders playing. This was a simple analysis, so I'm going to move on to the next game. Manchester City versus Bournemouth. This is a very interesting game here. Why? Because these are two teams that are performing very well and they're up at the top of the league. Well, Bournemouth is second, Man City is fifth. Uh, Man City have won 75% of their games at home. Bournemouth have won 25% of games away, so that's not their strongest. They don't perform extremely well away. Goals scored, though, this is interesting. Bournemouth has scored 8 goals in the past 3 game weeks. Man City has scored 3 only, but Bournemouth did concede much more than Man City. So it's looking like an interesting game so far. So Man City's home record, they've won 3 games and they've been scoring very well. You can see they scored 5 goals against Burnley, 2 against Everton, 3 against Man United. So they are good at scoring goals at home. They haven't been conceding much at home. So that is a very good sign for Man City. At the same time, if we look at Bournemouth's away record, is pretty average or less than average. They've lost a game, drew 2 games, and won a game. And you can see, but they've been conceding a lot more goals. They have been scoring more goals as well. So it actually looks like a Man City win. To me, it looks like Man City is going to win it. Man City is definitely going to score. Bournemouth are likely to score as well. So to summarize, my first thoughts of this game is it's something along the lines of like a 2-1 or 3-2 victory for Man City. But I'll analyze this more in detail over the next couple of days. If we were to look at both the current and recent performance, Man City had an extremely bad game week, one of the poorest game weeks so far. They've only made 25 points in total for the entire team, very poor. But the previous weeks have been very good. You can see 70, 63, 57, 83. But on the other hand, Bournemouth had an excellent game week number 9. You can see they had 70 points. Truffert got 10 points. Let's see. Tavernier has 11 points. He scored 1 goal. Truffert that's very interesting. Truffert got 10 points. He didn't have any attacking returns, but he got 2 bonus points, 2 defensive contribution points, and clean sheets. So that added up to 10 points, double figures. That's really interesting to see. Senesi had 5. How comes he had 5? He must have had a yellow card as well. Tavernier has been good. He is an interesting player. I might consider bringing him in the future. Krupi Jr. He has an excellent minute to goal ratio, and I suggested to bring him in as well. His price has gone up by 1. You can see. He's an interesting player. I really like him. And if we look at they're playing Man City, Aston Villa. So they've got 2 tough games coming up, and then they have West Ham. So my final thoughts for this game is Man City are likely to win, possibly a draw if Bournemouth play well. But Man City, the data shows that Man City are highly likely to win it. Final game, Sunderland versus Everton. Sunderland have been in terrific form. Look at that. 75% of the games they played at home, they've won. Everton have only won 25% of their games playing away. They have 10 league ranking difference between the two teams. Goals scored past 3 games, 4 goals only. And goals conceded, 6 goals. Now it's starting to show that you don't really need to score many goals to be playing well as a team. And I think the most important thing to look out for is who is conceding the most, and that is the main insight that will allow you to determine which team is likely to perform better in the next game week. So just looking at the past 3 game weeks, Sunderland's performance is better than Everton. If we have a look at Sunderland's home record, we can see that they've won 3 games. That is absolutely excellent. And they've played similar level teams such as Everton, like Brentford, Aston Villa, Wolves and West Ham. They've only conceded 2 goals at home. So if you have Sunderland defence, definitely get them in. Goals, they've scored 8 goals playing at home as well, which is very, very good. Everton away record, you can see they conceded 7. They've only scored 4. They've played against tough teams, Man City and Liverpool, and they lost against them as well. My first summary would be that Sunderland are likely to win and have a clean sheet. They've got an excellent defensive record, whilst Everton have a poor defensive record. If we have a look at their performance over the past 3 game weeks, I like to look at very recent performance because it shows their form. Now we can see Sunderland did average and this game week with 44 points. Isidore and Talby have the most points. They had a brilliant game week number 8 when they played against McKeely. They played against Wolves, and so they have a very good defense. You can see Mukili has scored 42 points just in the past 3 game weeks, and overall he's got 46 points. Everton, on the other hand, they've been performing really badly. If you look at that, 18, 27 and 50. Apart from game week 7 where they had decent points, the last 2 game weeks they have not been performing well. Grealish, I think, is one of the most selected players from Everton. He has been getting really poor results. He didn't play in game week 8, but this game week he only got 1 point. So overall, my summary for this game, Sunderland versus Everton, Sunderland are likely to win. And Sunderland are likely to win and have a clean sheet. Everton are likely to lose. Therefore, invest in Sunderland defence. This is my summary for this game week number 10. I will be doing more analysis over the next few days, and then I watch out for my final thoughts video. My predictions so far have been very good and accurate. So do follow me, give a like if you like the video, share it with your friends, and keep an eye out for my final picks, and hopefully we can climb the ranking in our own mini leagues. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. See ya.